Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let me just say, a few years ago, when there was a battle of unbeatens, and I picked Carl Froch over Jean Pascal, I never got a single email, not one, criticizing me for picking Froch and claiming that I did so because Froch was a white guy. Right? Didn't get a single email. Just a few weeks ago, when I picked Danny Green wrongly over Antonio Tarver in a fight that Tarver dominated, again, I never got a single email accusing me of playing race in picking Danny Green over Antonio Tarver. However, every time I mention Floyd Mayweather in a video, people should know, people should understand that I get typically at least 5 to 10 emails, minimum, from viewers accusing me of supporting Floyd because he's black. Right? It's a twofold criticism. One is I'm supporting a fighter instead of making a pick or analyzing him. And the second is I'm racially biased and I pick black guys because they're black. Right? Understand that that's the world we live in. Right? Race is as thick as syrup on a pancake. Right? Now, it's against that backdrop that I'm going to talk about Floyd Mayweather, who, quite frankly, I haven't seen a fighter this controversial in terms of public relations since Ali made us all very uncomfortable when I was a little boy in the early 1970s. For some reason, Floyd Mayweather evokes big-time emotion. Now understand, when Peyton Manning or Tom Brady comes to the line of scrimmage and they're looking at an NFL defense, right? They'll be able to call an audible based on what they see to complete throws. It's all about where the other players are positioned. So the other team can have people like Ronnie Lott playing safety. And a skilled quarterback is going to know that Ronnie Lott, as great as he was when he played, could only be in one place at one time, right? An elite quarterback might even know that Ronnie Lott, as hyped as he is, can't do certain things. So they're going to then call an audible to take advantage of the misplacing on the defense, right? The game at that point is cerebral. It's not about arm strength anymore, right? It's not about physical attributes. It's about the quarterback's mental ability to read a defense, to make the adjustment, and to exploit the weakness. That's who Floyd Mayweather is, right? Quite frankly, I've seen better athletes in the sport. Floyd Mayweather isn't that hard a puncher. He's not a great knockout puncher, right? Floyd Mayweather has been in fights where he hasn't had the hand speed advantage. Take a look at the Zab Judah fight. You're going to notice something shocking in those early rounds. Zab Judah's hand speed is perceptively faster than Floyd Mayweather's. In other words, I would say that there are fighters, Manny Pacquiao, who probably have better hand speed than Floyd Mayweather. But understand that Mayweather is, in my opinion, and I understand this is controversial, and I understand it's been lost in the public narrative, in part because of race. But Floyd Mayweather is, and persona, but Floyd Mayweather is, in my opinion, the smartest man in boxing. His advantage is actually mental, right? It's his understanding of the sport. He is the best defensive fighter of our generation. But more importantly, for intellectual types like him, the sport becomes math, right? He fights out of a Philly shell. He's excellent defensively. doesn't raise his hands much of the time, will block punches with a left shoulder. He'll have his hand tucked to prevent you from hitting his chin. He's turned sideways so you only have half to hit, right? He's using his front left foot almost as the base of a gyroscope, where as you come in on him, he'll rarely lift that foot. Look at the tapes, right? He rarely goes backward defensively. Rather, he pivots on the foot. He has you figured out to the point where it's all angles. He knows that from certain angles, and it's all angles, from certain angles, he knows that you can only hit him with certain punches. Also, forget what's said in interviews, because that's a lot of bravado. He carefully studies every opponent before he enters the ring. So he'll know that if you can't go to the body with your right hand, he won't block his body against your right hand, right? He'll know that if you throw your left hand wide, he can roll a certain way to duck that left hand, right? He'll even go further, and he'll know, that if you're standing at certain places and you throw a left hook up top, he knows how to duck under it, right? We're talking about a guy who, quite frankly, the best way to describe it is he is dodging your punch before you throw it, right? This is the cerebral approach to boxing. It's totally different than a bar fight, right? This is a guy in the ring who literally is playing angles, right? You see it with Pernell Whitaker. These are guys who are in front of you, and they have it figured out, where if you throw certain punches, they'll literally duck under the punch, right? Offensively, he has a construct where, like Vladimir Klitschko, out of an orthodox stance, he can knock you out with a left hook. He never has to uncork his right hand. Take a look at his fight against Diego Corrales, how he's tagging Corrales repeatedly with that left hook. And of course, he has a straight right hand that has stopped many people. If you come at Floyd Mayweather because of his defensive construct, because he's able to block punches without raising his hands, and he also has figured out exactly where you need to be and where he needs to be able to deal with the punches you throw, right? If you charge at Floyd Mayweather aggressively, the fight is lost, right? If you're in front of Floyd Mayweather and you stay in front of him and you don't use lateral movement, the fight is lost. Now let me just say this. I'm halfway through the video. In my opinion, every great fighter can be beaten, right? Jake LaMotta beat Sugar Ray Robinson in his prime. According to Lou Duva, who was there and who was a good friend of Rocky Marciano lost to Roland LaStarza in his first fight. Press Row thought LaStarza won the fight. The judges gave Rock a narrow win. People forget that Sonny Banks and Henry Cooper both dropped pre-Vietnam War Ali in the ring when Ali was in his prime, right? The Cooper fight was interesting because Angelo Dundee may have saved Ali in that fight with some glove hijinks. I would encourage you to look that up online. And of course, Prime Pacquiao, not young Pacquiao, but Prime Pacquiao, was beaten by Eric Morales, and to date has never really mastered Juan Manuel Marquez, right? Marquez has a draw against Pacquiao, lost a close fight in the rematch. And so let's talk about Floyd Mayweather. The worst it's been for Floyd was a straight right hand delivered by Shane Mosley. Shook him up in that fight. Then Mosley came back with another hard punch in the same round. Now just imagine if Shane Mosley had the capability of then backing out, right? Just imagine if Shane Mosley was able to deliver punches like that straight right hand from distance and then back out, right? turning Floyd, getting Floyd out of his defensive shell. And just imagine, too, if Floyd had figured out the angle of Shane Mosley's straight right hand, but Mosley was able to deliver his left from distance so that Floyd had two sets of angles to figure out. And just imagine if Shane Mosley was able to circle Floyd and to actually change the angles as the fight went forward. That's the only way, quite frankly, to beat Floyd. Let's break it down. I believe you cannot give a conventional fighter, a guy who's right in front of you, 5 things to beat Floyd. Rather, this takes, in my opinion, a completely new paradigm. The first is to beat Floyd, the 5 things in 5 minutes. You've got to force him out of his defensive shell. In other words, you have to force him to move his front left foot as he stands defensively. That means you have to have foot speed. You have to be moving around the ring. The second thing is you need to be outside the range of Floyd's left hook. Right? In other words, you have to fight Floyd outside in. You can't fight him inside out. Forget about trying to take Floyd out inside. He's too advanced. You have to fight him outside in. You have to keep moving, be moving. You have to keep changing the angles. The other thing, too, is you have to give him nothing to counter. In other words, not high volume, but low volume. Right? You have to be prepared to be booed. The crowd's going to think that you're just running outside. What you're actually doing is moving outside, turning Floyd, hoping for an opening. Then you're going to, here's the next thing, lead with a power punch. Right? If you're going to throw a combination, the first punch has to be a power punch. Could be a long right hand, could be a left hook. You've got to, or reversed if you're a lefty, right? But you've got to set it up where you're leading with power shots. The idea is you want to jump in from outside Floyd's range. You want to hit Floyd like Shane Mosley hit Floyd. Then, if you've done that, then you can throw the rest of the combination. But you have to come in, you have to lead with power shots, right? You cannot have one punch as a placeholder and then throw the power shot. You have to be able to lead with the power shot. Someone who fights a lot like Floyd, let's talk about blueprint fights. Floyd's never lost. If you're going to find a blueprint fight, you have to find a fight that doesn't involve Floyd Mayweather. Someone who fights a lot like Floyd is former light heavyweight champion Chad Dawson, right? One blueprint fight would be Chad Dawson against Jean Pascal, right? Pascal had it worked out. He was outside the range. Pascal has knockout power with both hands. He walked around Dawson in that fight. He made Dawson look like he was carrying luggage around the ring, right? Dawson, like Floyd, likes to fight out of a defensive construct. Pascal forced Dawson to literally jump around the ring trying to keep his construct while Pascal kept coming in with strategic ambushes in which he led with power punches, right? Another fight, and quite frankly, I think this guy gives Floyd the toughest time. Sergio Martinez against Sergei Zinzurek. Zinzurek has an excellent defensive shell from in close. What Martinez did in that fight, and Martinez is advanced. Martinez is outside the range. He's moving around. Zinzurek then finds himself trying to catch up to Martinez. So he's staying in his defensive stance. He's hopping forward to catch up with Martinez. Then Martinez is leaping in, hooks, hard punches, follows it up with a combination. Take a look at that tape, right? Also, there's a young guy, Brad Solomon, at 147. I think he has the style to give Floyd Mayweather problems. To sum up in the last 10 seconds, you have to beat Floyd from the outside in. You have to fight an ambush fight, a David Haye type fight to win. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments.